Zechariah chapter 6. Again I lifted up my eyes and saw, and behold, 4 chariots came out from between 2 mountains, and the mountains were mountains of bronze. In the first chariot were red horses, in the second chariot were black horses, in the third chariot were white horses, in the fourth chariot were dappled horses, all of them powerful. Then I asked the angel who talked with me, "What are these, my Lord?" The angel answered me, "These are the 4 winds of the sky, which go out from standing before the Lord of all the earth. The one with the black horses goes out toward the north country, and the white went out after them, and the dappled went out toward the south country. The strong went out, and sought to go that they might walk back and forth through the earth. He said, Go around and through the earth. So they walked back and forth through the earth. Then he called to me and spoke to me, saying, Behold, those who go toward the north country have quieted my spirit in the north country. Yahweh's word came to me, saying, Take of them of the captivity, even of Heldai, of Tobijah, and of Jediah, and come the same day, and go into the house of Josiah the son of Zephaniah, where they have come from Babylon. Yes, take silver and gold, and make crowns, and set them on the head of Joshua the son of Jehozadak, the high priest, and speak to him, saying, Yahweh of armies says, Behold, the man whose name is the branch, he will grow up out of his place, and he will build Yahweh's temple. He will build Yahweh's temple. He will bear the glory, and will sit and rule on his throne. He will be a priest on his throne. The counsel of peace will be between them both. The crowns shall be to Helem, to Tobijah, to Jediah, and to Hen the son of Zephaniah, for a memorial in Yahweh's temple. Those who are far off shall come and build in Yahweh's temple, and you shall know that Yahweh of armies has sent me to you. This will happen if you will diligently obey Yahweh your God's voice. Zechariah chapter 7. In the 4th year of King Darius, Yahweh's word came to Zechariah in the 4th day of the 9th month, the month of Kislev. The people of Bethel sent Sherzer and Rijah and Melech and their men to entreat Yahweh's favor, and to speak to the priests of the house of Yahweh of armies and to the prophets, saying, Should I weep in the 5th month, separating myself, as I have done these so many years? Then the word of Yahweh of armies came to me, saying, Speak to all the people of the land and to the priests, saying, When you fasted and mourned in the 5th and in the 7th month for these 70 years, did you at all fast to me, really to me? When you eat and when you drink, don't you eat for yourselves and drink for yourselves? Aren't these the words which Yahweh proclaimed by the former prophets when Jerusalem was inhabited and in prosperity, and its cities around her, and the south and the lowland were inhabited? Yahweh's word came to Zechariah, saying, Thus has Yahweh of armies spoken, saying, Execute true judgment, and show kindness and compassion every man to his brother. Don't oppress the widow, the fatherless, the foreigner, nor the poor, and let none of you devise evil against his brother in your heart. But they refused to listen, and turned their backs, and stopped their ears, that they might not hear. Yes, they made their hearts as hard as flint, lest they might hear the law and the words which Yahweh of armies had sent by his Spirit by the former prophets. Therefore great wrath came from Yahweh of armies. It has come to pass that, as he called and they refused to listen, so they would call and I will not listen, said Yahweh of armies, that I will scatter them with a whirlwind among all the nations which they have not known. Thus the land was desolate after them, so that no man passed through nor returned, for they made the pleasant land desolate. Zechariah chapter 8. The word of Yahweh of armies came to me. Yahweh of armies says, I am jealous for Zion with great jealousy, and I am jealous for her with great wrath. Yahweh says, I have returned to Zion, and will dwell in the middle of Jerusalem. Jerusalem shall be called the city of truth, and the mountain of Yahweh of armies, the holy mountain. Yahweh of armies says, Old men and old women will again dwell in the streets of Jerusalem, every man with his staff in his hand because of their old age. The streets of the city will be full of boys and girls playing in its streets. Yahweh of armies says, If it is marvelous in the eyes of the remnant of this people in those days, should it also be marvelous in my eyes, says Yahweh of armies. Yahweh of armies says, Behold, I will save my people from the east country and from the west country. I will bring them, and they will dwell within Jerusalem. They will be my people, and I will be their God, in truth and in righteousness. Yahweh of armies says, Let your hands be strong, you who hear in these days these words from the mouth of the prophets who were in the day that the foundation of the house of Yahweh of armies was laid, even the temple, that it might be built. For before those days there was no wages for man, nor any wages for an animal, neither was there any peace to him who went out or came in, because of the adversary. For I set all men everyone against his neighbor. That now I will not be to the remnant of this people as in the former days, says Yahweh of armies. For the seed of peace and the vine will yield its fruit, and the ground will give its increase, and the heavens will give their due. I will cause the remnant of this people to inherit all these things. It shall come to pass that, as you were a curse among the nations, house of Judah and house of Israel, so I will save you, and you shall be a blessing. Don't be afraid. Let your hands be strong. For Yahweh of armies says, as I thought to do evil to you when your fathers provoked me to wrath, says Yahweh of armies, and I didn't repent, so again I have thought in these days to do good to Jerusalem and to the house of Judah. Don't be afraid. These are the things that you shall do. Speak every man the truth with his neighbor. Execute the judgment of truth and peace in your gates. And let none of you devise evil in your hearts against his neighbor, and love no false oath. For all these are things that I hate, says Yahweh. The word of Yahweh of armies came to me. Yahweh of armies says, the fasts of the 4th, 5th, 7th, and 10th months shall be for the house of Judah joy, gladness, and cheerful feasts. Therefore love truth and peace. Yahweh of armies says, many peoples and the inhabitants of many cities will yet come. The inhabitants of one will go to another, saying, let's go speedily to entreat the favor of Yahweh, and to seek Yahweh of armies. I will go also. Yes, many peoples and strong nations will come to seek Yahweh of armies in Jerusalem, and to entreat the favor of Yahweh. Yahweh of armies says, in those days 10 men out of all the languages of the nations will take hold of the skirt of him who is a Jew, saying, we will go with you, for we have heard that God is with you. Chapter 9. A revelation. Yahweh's word is against the land of Hadrach, and will rest upon Damascus, for the eye of man and of all the tribes of Israel is toward Yahweh, and Hamath also, which borders on it Tyre and Sidon, because they are very wise. Tyre built herself a stronghold, and heaped up silver like the dust, and fine gold like the mire of the streets. Behold, the Lord will dispossess her, and he will strike her power in the sea, and she will be devoured with fire. Ashkelon will see it and fear, Gaza also, and will writhe in agony, as will Ekron, for her expectation will be disappointed, and the king will perish from Gaza, and Ashkelon will not be inhabited. Foreigners will dwell in Ashdod, and I will cut off the pride of the Philistines. I will take away his blood out of his mouth, and his abominations from between his teeth, and he also will be a remnant for our God. And he will be as a chieftain in Judah, and Ekron as a Jebusite. I will encamp around my house against the army, that no one pass through or return, and no oppressor will pass through them any more. For now I have seen with my eyes. Rejoice greatly, daughter of Zion. Shout, daughter of Jerusalem. Behold, your king comes to you. He is righteous and having salvation, lowly, and riding on a donkey, even on a colt, the foal of a donkey. I will cut off the chariot from Ephraim and the horse from Jerusalem. The battle bow will be cut off, and he will speak peace to the nations. His dominion will be from sea to sea, and from the river to the ends of the earth. As for you also, because of the blood of your covenant, I have set free your prisoners from the pit in which is no water. Turn to the stronghold, you prisoners of hope. Even today I declare that I will restore double to you. For indeed I bend Judah as a bow for me. I have loaded the bow with Ephraim. I will stir up your sons, Zion, against your sons, Greece, and will make you like the sword of a mighty man. Yahweh will be seen over them. His arrow will flash like lightning. The Lord Yahweh will blow the trumpet, and will go with whirlwinds of the south. Yahweh of armies will defend them. They will destroy and overcome with sling stones. They will drink and roar as through wine. They will be filled like bowls, like the corners of their altar. Yahweh their God will save them in that day as the flock of his people, for they are like the jewels of a crown, lifted on high over his land. For how great is his goodness, and how great is his beauty! Grain will make the young men flourish, and new wine the virgins.